This is Pyro Sports on
Zollyhood Radio, where the magic happens.
This is Parasports, sports with a difference, where we focus on differently able sports, whether the disability may be physical or intellectual. It is your time to shine. Stay tuned each and every Saturday whilst your host, Jazzy Smith, keep you up to date with the latest news and interviews from around the world. Before we take you deep into the parasporting community, let's give you an overview, a definition of what parasports is all about. Some parasports are variants of existing able-bodied sports, whilst others, such as goalball, have been specifically created for persons with a disability and do not have an able-bodied equivalent. Disabilities exist in 4 categories: physical, mental, permanent, and temporary. At a competitive level, disability sports classifications are applied to allow people of varying abilities to face similar opposition. The Paralympics, the Deaflympics, and the Special Olympics are the major sporting events for persons with various disabilities. The Paralympics and the Deaflympics are held in a 4-year cycle, whilst the Special Olympics is held in a 2-year cycle. All of the above mentioned events have a summer and a winter component.
The Paralympic Games represents the pinnacle of sporting events for people with physical and intellectual disabilities. The Paralympic Games dates back to 1948, when an archery tournament for 16 individuals in wheelchairs was held at an English hospital as part of the patient's rehabilitation, coinciding with the London Olympic Games. The event has now grown into a competition with more than 4,000 para-athletes from 164 countries participating. The major feature of the Paralympic Games is the wide variety of events. At the Rio 2016 Paralympic Games, there were 22 sports encompassing 528 events, while there were 28 sports encompassing 306 events at the Rio 2016 Olympic Games. This is because of the broad range of athletes' disabilities and the required number of corresponding events. The reason I swim is to demonstrate my value as a human and to grow day by day. I don't want my limitations to be assessed by other people due to the fact I don't have hands and only one leg. I am the only one who decides what kind of person I am, and the most important thing is not to limit myself. Your dream is something you create yourself, and anyone has the power to make his or her dreams come true.
Well, the Paralympic Games are one of the most exciting, spectacular, fascinating sport events in the world because of the performances of the athletes on the field of play, but also because of the societal changes that the Paralympic Games drives. And it's so powerful because the vehicle is a sport, and because who is, I would say, driving that change are the athletes on the field of play. You feel the passion of the athletes, you understand the overcoming stories, you see them in action, and you can connect, in a way, even though you might have or not a disability, but the overcoming part of it, we all overcame something in our lives, and to see that overcoming and then achieving a medal or achieving a result or just qualifying to a final. No one comes to the Paralympic Games and goes back home feeling the same. That is a transformation, and it comes from within. That is why it's so powerful.
The Paralympics was scheduled for 2020 in Tokyo, Japan, but due to the COVID-19, it was postponed to 2021.
Deaf sports. A brief history. 1893. The oldest known deaf and hard of hearing sport is golf, specifically the England Deaf Golf Association, or the EDGA, which was established in 1893. EDGA is recognized by UK Deaf Sport, World Deaf Golf Federation, and England Golf, and was one of the original member countries of the World Deaf Golf Association in the 1990s. The EDG is part of UK Deaf Sport, which is a registered charity aiming to encourage deaf people to participate, to enjoy, and to excel at sports. 1935. In 1935, the United States of America made its international debut to the Summer Deaf Olympics, formerly known as the International Silent Games. 2 deaf athletes were sent to run track and field, winning the USA 4 medals. 1945. In 1945, the National Deaf Basketball Tournament, American Athletic Union of the Deaf, or AAUD, was established to serve as a parent organization for deaf sport clubs and to facilitate the participation of U.S. athletes in international deaf competitions. In 1957, the AAUD changed their name to the American Athletic Association of the Deaf, or AAAD. Arthur A. Kruger. A 1933 graduate of Gallaudet University, Arthur Kruger was known for getting the U.S. involved in the Deaf Olympics. The first team went to the World Games for the Deaf, what the Deaf Olympics were known as at the time, in 1957. Kruger was able to make these connections through his writings and networking with various coaches for deaf students throughout the country. He also raised approximately $2 million for the U.S. athletes he helped send to the Games in 1957 and in the years beyond. 1965. In 1965, the AAAD hosted the Summer Deaf Olympics in Washington, D.C. This was the first time the Games were hosted outside of Europe. Out of 687 athletes competing, a whopping 159 were from the United States. 1975. In 1975, the Winter Deaf Olympics were hosted in Lake Placid, New York. Sports included alpine skiing, cross-country skiing, speed skating, figure skating, and ice hockey. 1997. The name officially changed to the United States of America Deaf Sports Federation, or the USADSF, to better represent the USA in international competitions.
The Deaf Olympics is scheduled for 2021 or 2022 in Caxias do Sul, Brazil.
You know, the Special Olympics movement has as its origin a fundamental principle, and it started in 1968 with that fundamental principle active and alive. The fundamental principle was that everybody deserves a chance, and that sport can be a vehicle for expressing everybody's capacity to contribute. That mission, the concept that people with special needs, who might have been considered the most vulnerable people, the most in a way broken people, the least strong, the least powerful people, that they could be Olympic, that they could aspire to the ideals of human greatness. I mean, this was a complete reversal of people's expectations. We reversed those paradigms, and greatness became about the spirit. Greatness became about what you bring to the table, not what you're given at the start. Greatness became about perseverance and courage and friendship and openness and love. If one looks back into the 1940s or 50s or 60s, one sees a pattern where you begin with the idea that a person with special needs has no value, is a mistake, is hopeless. And so in the medical profession, in the social services profession, people would say to a mother, get rid of this child. Give the child to the state. The child will be cared for, but the child is hopeless. There is no need for you to love this child or to care for this child. It's too much. So we saw really a terribly tragic period in the history of people with special needs, where horrible institutions were created that were not necessarily created out of malice but out of indifference. People housed like animals, people treated like worse than animals in many respects, and families forever separated from the idea that their child mattered, never able to be proud of a son or a daughter or a brother or sister, for many never even seeing that brother or sister, and all the guilt and confusion and tragedy that is accompanying that kind of experience. I think what my mother felt was that that had to end, that we had to recover not just families, their hope, their pride, their love of one another, but we had to recover dignity. And so Special Olympics was an attempt, in a way, to open the world's eyes. You know, we started in a stadium. It is not just about allowing play, but it is allowing the world to see. Fill the stands, come and watch, change your heart, change your bias, change that attitude that is so hopeless and so tragic, and replace it with an appreciation of the joy and spirit that everybody has, if only they get a chance. And, you know, our athletes did the rest.
Having a little sister that was born with Down syndrome was something that, you know, you never anticipate, you know, until she was born. I don't think I'd ever known someone or met anyone that I remembered that had any kind of disability, whether it was physical or intellectual. I remember my parents sitting my older sister and I down before she was born, after my mom got pregnant, and explaining to us that when Barbie was born, she was going to be different.
All of them in high school says Barbara doesn't have a boyfriend. They were teaching me Barbara has no boyfriend, Barbara has no boyfriend, and I didn't go to my senior prom. They were teasing me. I don't know why, because I was crying. It's kind of hard for me. If my friends were there, they should comfort me, because I didn't want to be teased anymore.
Going through what she went through as a child, I think it made her a lot stronger. And then to go through Special Olympics gave her something to aspire to. I mean, this is something that she will have for the rest of her life. And there are opportunities that she has through Special Olympics that she never would have had otherwise. She's able to compete in 19 different sports. You know, she never would have thought she'd play golf. She does it now. Bocce ball. These opportunities are presented to her because she sees somebody else doing them. And she's like, you know what, I can do that. I want to try that. And there are certain sports like figure skating that, I mean, we never, ever in our wildest dreams would have thought she could accomplish what she does. And now she's amazing at it. And it's her favorite thing to do on the planet.
I love Special Olympics. Special Olympics is like my family.
The Special Olympics is scheduled for 2023 in Berlin, Germany. Thank you for staying tuned to Parasports, sports with a difference, where we hope to shine a light on differently able sports from around the world.
Thank you for listening to Parasports on
Zollyhood Radio, where the magic happens.